Hey, it's a Scotch Test Dummies. We got us a Laphroaig Select. Let's test it.
Test it! All right, Bruno, we're in. You know I love Laphroaig. Full disclosure, I'm a Laphroaig lover. Fanatic of Laphroaig.
It's kind of an understatement.
It is. It's my favorite distillery. But I'm going to give it a fair, honest opinion. I've even waited on...
Well, I was just going to say, like, Trekkies.
Oh,
you know how they're big fans
I
and they
prefer
go
to call
to
us
the
Trek
conventions.
Wars.
Trek Wars.
Because I don't actually dress up and wear the ears, but I love
if you
the
went
whole
to
show.
like a Laphroaig convention, you'd like dress up as like the distillery or something.
Well, I'd have like an all-white shirt and some white
like
denim jeans on with white shoes.
You'd be like Barrel Man.
I'd have a, you know what? I'd have a white top hat, and on it would say Laphroaig. That's what I would wear around. I need a top hat. If I had a top hat, I would get it white with a little cardboard thing that says Laphroaig on it. That's a good call. I'm going to have to do that. Sorry, you just gave me an idea. I don't know what I'm going to do.
This was actually a Christmas present.
It was.
One of my coworkers.
Someone from the office. From the office.
Now, I don't know who he talked to, but he told the people at the liquor store he wanted a sherry-based scotch for me.
I told them to get you something sherry-based.
And this is what they recommended.
They must.
It must not have been a very educated liquor store.
Or I told them, when this guy comes in, no matter what, tell him Laphroaig.
Oh?
No, I didn't do that. I should have. Hey, when this guy comes in, just say Laphroaig. Just make him buy something Laphroaig-ish. I gotta admit, I'm getting a nice collection of Laphroaig. We're almost to the point. One reason we need to review this, I want to do a Laphroaig shootout, which is where we have the whole family of Laphroaig in. And we've got the triple wood, the select, and the 15-year anniversary, the 10-year, the 10-year cask, the quarter cask. So there's 6 bottles, 6 or 7, that we're going to be able to mess around. Notice how I went with the green freaker deal, which kind of matches the green bottle.
No more freaker stuff.
Sorry, no more freaker.
We went well into that. Now this is a bottle that's been open since December.
Yes.
And it's a quarter of the way down. So it's had a little bit of time to get some oxygen. Maybe it has developed a little bit. Now, and in a strange twist of irony, I can't find my notes.
Shocker.
Or I didn't take them.
With your whole
it's probably
system,
the best.
You probably threw up a little in your mouth and then didn't take a note.
I'll tell you what my notes probably were, and that's peat.
There's a strong peat on the nose. A little bit of medicinal spearmint.
Well, let's back up just a little bit.
Okay.
Laphroaig Select is a combination of 3 casks.
Your favorite?
They've went through and hand-selected cask to make this with.
A used cask.
At 40%.
Right. I'm confused on that.
Well, I've kind of figured they already had the stuff aged, and they were just choosing their whiskeys. Put that whiskey in here, grab that whiskey, grab this whiskey.
Almost like a blended?
But it's whiskey, well, it's all Laphroaig whiskey, so it's from the same distillery.
Quarter cask.
They've used some whiskey from Quarter Cask.
Mm-hmm.
They've used some whiskey from Pedro Ximenez.
And that should have made you go, oh, all inside. You were like, look at that. He loves Pedro.
Pedro Ximenez casks. And the third cask that they use, they call triple wood casks or European oak casks.
Which is odd because one of the other bottles we have is a triple wood. Mm-hmm. So it's spent all that time in the triple wood.
Just in the European oak.
Right, exactly. So that's what the Select is. And
I got to tell you, I was kind of surprised it was only 40% coming from Laphroaig, and being that combination, I figured they would have bottled it at a higher percentage.
The nose is distinct. Like I said, it's got that peat on it.
Distinct.
It's got a peaty distinctness to it. You got to admit it's peaty. You can almost tell it's Laphroaig from a distance. It's got a little bit of medicinal, like I said, spearmint. And probably a little bit of iodine. I do have my notes on it. My notes say basically that I get a little bit of sugar smoke. What do you get?
Peat.
Say it again.
I'm trying to see, even as you said spearmint, I'm searching for spearmint. No, I don't get any. There is a sweetness. It's hard to tell what kind it is. And a saltiness or iodine as well.
Now on my palate neat, I'm just going to tell you I don't like this as much as a regular Laphroaig. I get an oaky smoky. Okay, and I know that sounds funny. I get an oaky smoky with a bit of sour twinge to it. Almost seaweedy.
It's actually not a harsh peat.
No.
It's pretty, I mean, it's mild to medium peat.
Yeah.
It's very smooth, mellow. And that's it. I didn't add any water yet, so that was just at the 40% right out of the bottle.
I've said it already. It tastes a little bit like old wood. I get that sour oak and wood peat with it. And that surprises me. It sends it down a slightly different Laphroaig road for me.
That's actually not too bad. But then again, I've more warmed up to the peat.
You have. Now here's my deal.
They're still not my favorite.
Right, I understand that. My deal is I like younger whiskeys, which this may be. Isn't this a non-age statement?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an NAS. And I'm sure it's a younger whiskey. But my problem is, what I don't like in the older whiskeys is when they get heavily oaked. And I think because of this triple wood, that I'm getting a lot more of the oak flavor. And I'm just not as big a fan of the oak. It still tastes good. It's still got a Laphroaig signature to it. Not as big a fan. What say you?
I'm a bigger fan just because it's not as harsh. And it actually seems smoother and mellower than when I had tasted it.
I'm doing some angry chipmunk right now.
Yeah.
You're right, that didn't look real appealing when I looked at myself doing it. I thought I'm definitely not a TV star when I'm doing angry chipmunk circular breathing. This one takes a bad turn for me.
That's got a little sugar sweetness.
Yes, right, which is where I come from.
And that was with a couple drops of water.
Yep. My taste is pepper brown sugar.
Pepper
brown sugar.
Pepper and brown sugar.
Yes, like all together. Pepper brown sugar.
Black pepper?
Oh, yeah. You betcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's got the pepper brown sugar as my flavor note.
Or fine ground.
No, it's like the kind that's full seed and you grind it right before you drop it on your Caesar salad.
Yeah.
It's that
coarse,
kind.
A coarse ground.
Is that even coarse?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you're grinding it yourself.
Grinders.
Yeah, I don't care about the coarseness. It's the fresh ground pepper. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe a little bit of vanilla. This isn't bad. I was gonna try to trade you bottles, but I might keep it.
No, you should keep this. We need to keep it here to do. I still want to do the. I think this will be very interesting in the full shootout because this will stand different from the Laphroaig line.
I'm sure
it's still Laphroaig, but you're going to really, when we do a shootout with 5 different bottlings of Laphroaig, this will stand alone, in my opinion. We have yet to do that. We will do that. I'm not as big a fan. And to me, I wish that ABV was up there. It feels a little watered down for me. I added water, and I'm not liking it with the water I added to it. Drink this neat.
Literally just a drop.
A touch, a single dew.
No, a drop.
A single.
A smidgen.
A smidgen of dewdrop.
Yep. What, our Patreon backers, we're going to mention them.
We were.
We have been, or you really have.
But I would love you to do it too. We've been doing some unique content for Patreon backers. I will literally do some kind of ad hoc video on my phone. For instance, I talked about the problems I was having with the in-bar lighting that's right above my bottles. You probably can't see it here. I shot like a 2-minute video, boom, put it up, only for Patreon, free for Patreon, so it wasn't one that we charged. For those that don't know what Patreon is, you can come back us as low as $1 an episode, and it helps us continue the show going. If you're a big fan or you just like what we're doing, please help us out, go to Patreon. As a bonus for those Patreon backers, which we've got several now, thank you, I'm putting out exclusive content, and hopefully you will too,
Sure.
just for them. Now, this stuff's way off topic. It might be somebody sent us a little sample that we wouldn't do on the show.
Right.
Or it might
We like, when we do the show, we like to have a bottle to sit
yes.
here.
We're a visual medium.
Yes.
So if somebody
Visual.
sends me, a distillery or something, just sends me a sample bottle that would be great for a written review, but it's not real good for the show, we'll still review it. We may tweet it, but it'll definitely be something we would put up on Patreon. Now, we haven't put any of those up yet.
No.
I've done more behind the scenes kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but I
That's
figured,
what we have in mind, though, and what we can do to
Yes.
help for our Patreon supporters.
Patreon backers are going to get a little something extra.
Yes.
It'll be rough, it'll be tumble, but it'll be a little something extra. So if you love a smidgen of Scotch Test Dummies, and you want just a little
Pinch.
more, you want pinches of dummy, you want a little pinch of Scotch Test Dummies, make sure you're on Patreon, because you're going to get some extra stuff that nobody else is getting.
All right, I got my score up. What do you think?
Sadly, it's an 84.
That's pretty low for you.
It is.
I bet it's just because the peat doesn't meet your expectations.
Two things. It's a little bit
You
light
don't
on
stop punching
ABV.
you.
That's true. It's a little bit light ABV. It's three things. A little bit light ABV. It's over oaked for me. That rhymes, by the way. And it's got it. You can tell it's a Laphroaig peat, but it's almost underplayed. And it's a no. Well, sorry,
No.
we'll get to that. That's my score. That's my
I know
score.
Bart's going to roll his eyes.
What did you
at
do?
mine.
Oh, God, you put a 0.5. Hello, hair cutter, hair splitter.
I was like,
Why?
is it a 90? I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, it's really good.
On the fence.
Now,
fence.
this is, if you're someone, and I think this is where the two viewpoints are good. If you really like the peat, you're not going to like this as much. If you're someone like me that doesn't like the peat as much, or maybe you just want a splash of peat or a mild peat, this is really good.
Maybe it's good as like a gateway peat. Someone will try and say, oh, I like it. I'll try some more peated. So I'm not going to hate on it. Maybe it opens the door for peat lover, a future peat lover.
Yeah, and I was before we poured our samples here and started reviewing. I was like, I'm going to have to try to trade this bottle for Bart because I'm never going to drink that.
And now
I'm
might.
not.
You might
I'm not
now.
trading it.
Oh, yeah, don't trade it. First of all, I'm
Well, you
not
don't
trading
want
it with anything. There's nothing I want to trade it for.
And as far as is it worth it, I don't know what the price point is because it was a gift, and I think it's in the $50 to $60 range.
Let's make up. We don't know the price. It was a gift. $50. Is it worth it?
Yes.
No. And that's because it was probably 50 or a little more. No offense to the guy that gifted it. It's a great gift. For me, it's a flat out no, not worth it, don't want it. Give me the quarter cask, or give me the 10-year, or give me the 10-year cask strength.
I'm going to name him. I'm going to say it. Slaughter.
The wrestler?
His name is actually Slaughter.
He must
He
be
bought
mean.
it. Thank
Is
you.
he a mean guy?
I like it.
Anybody with the name Slaughter, somewhere in their lineage, they had like
I know.
a great grandfather.
like
They were like, that guy, he killed the whole town. We're calling him Slaughter from here on out. From here on out, known as Slaughter.
Sergeant
Slaughter. Someday there'll be a guy that's like a wrestler based on this guy. He killed the whole town. It was brutal. And now that's his lineage. He's stuck with the name Slaughter.
Sorry, I made the dog bark.
Yeah,
by
the
pounding
dog's
on
barking, the
bar.
pounding and the screaming of Slaughter caused the hound to yell. So, for me, it's not worth it. For you, it is.
I would say $50 to $60 range, it's worth it. Yeah.
To me, I would buy this if it was $35. And I would have it on the shelf just so I had this like complete family of Laphroaig. But I don't know if I would go to it too often. I think it would just sit there and wither.
All right. Well, before we sign off, not to cut you off, John Cook Kook, Kook, sent an email to us on the website. What?
Well, when you're done with this, we wanted to talk about a moment of silence as well. And I think we could do that at the end, maybe end the episode on that instead of our typical ending, I thought. Okay. But go ahead with this.
Hi, Scotch Test Dummies. I'm a fan of your show. I do agree that you guys should tighten up.
He's talking to me. You're talking to me there. What's his name?
John Cook.
John Cook. Come on, man. That's
John
right
Cook.
at me. It's like a slap in the face.
LOL.
So he likes it a little bit.
But you guys still rock.
Bingo. Rocking it.
I'm just curious on your Scotch collection. Do you guys ever going to do a show on your Scotch collection?
You know what?
Now,
I think that should be only for Patreon.
We could do that, but I would say wait a year or two. Now, our collection is growing, and it's good, but I think it's still in its
infancy. Maybe no, it's a toddler.
It's a toddler. It's come along.
But I will say, and this comes from my board game experience, people love to see what's on the shelf, and that our shelf in particular changes.
Yeah. Now, well, and as you're watching the show, sometimes we zoom in on us a little bit tighter, and sometimes we have a little bit wider angle view. If you look over here, if you can see bottles behind me, these are some that we are waiting to review that we haven't
and anything
shot yet.
You see over here has been filmed, and basically this is how simple a system I need to know what I can go drink on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's organization for Bart, so
Right.
he knows what we have.
I can walk down here and be like, I want to test something new over here, top shelf.
We've come over to film before, and a bottle is gone, and I go, "What did you drink that for? We haven't shot it yet."
Yeah, we
did. Yeah,
we shot that 2 months ago.
I'm like, no.
No. And he has like an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, I bow to the Excel spreadsheet. All right, here's what we will do. Please become a Patreon backer. We may do a future episode where we talk about the shelf, but I will promise my Patreon backers this. I'll shoot a little impromptu video and show what's on the shelf, and I'll put it on Patreon.
Okay.
So go
Now,
find
the thing is, though, that's only showing
Patreon.com.
yours because I've still got.
You do.
Usually, if you buy something, you keep it. If I buy something, I keep it.
But you could
Stuff
shoot
that
it at
comes
your
in-
house and put it on Patreon as
True.
well.
True.
And then you can kind of see what we both got.
But yeah.
Let's do it. I think it's a great Patreon thing. Please go help us out and support us on Patreon.
But also, real quick before you keep going,
Okay.
I'm not done.
Okay, sorry.
John still wants to know. He's curious on our thoughts on the Macallan 1824 series, and he'd like to see a review on it. And I would say, send us a bottle, John,
Please send us a bottle.
because we haven't
Auburn
even
Spirits.
seen the 1824
Nope, we
collection
haven't.
in our area.
Yeah, Auburn Spirits,
So-
Wichita, Kansas. You can contact them, and they'll make it all legal and in line with the government, and you can get us a bottle. Now, on a sad note, by the way, I stole your bottle. I was going to play a joke on you, but
You stole my glass.
I stole your glass, not
Yes.
your bottle. On a sad note, as we film this, we film our episodes kind of ahead of time. We sit down and we'll film a set of them and then string them out over the weeks. And it is the Friday right after the Dallas officers have been ambushed, and killed. They were in a heck of a firefight. We don't want to go into too much. We definitely don't want to go into the politics, but we want to, well, I don't want to speak too much, but I think both of us would agree the valor and the heroism that was displayed there. There's nothing more heroic than when you go toward the gunfire and you're trying to save a fallen officer. So to them, kudos for that.
And we'd like to observe a moment of silence for those officers that
Yep,
lost their lives.
we're going to end without our typical ending.